listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Welcome to Grave Discussions. I am one half of your host duo, Barnabas.
And I am the other half, Samael. Welcome to episode 95, Your Deepest Desires.
Deep plane, which unfortunately was not in this movie. But yeah, today, guys, we are going to be discussing the thing that you wish for the most. And there's an island. We're going to be talking about Fantasy Island that just came out from Blumhouse. That's coming up in our main segment. We're going to do as much of a spoiler-free review as possible since it did just come out.
Yes.
Voice some frustrations that we had. It's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a very long night.
So first, as always, of course, we have to give a shout out to our gracious host network, Sports Radio Detroit.
And you can find Sports Radio Detroit on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook if you just look up SRD, Sports Radio Detroit. Or you can head on over to sportsradiodetroit.com. Check out some cool merch too.
Oh, yes. There's a cool little thing going on with SRD and Fanatics, I believe, still. So if you go buy any Detroit sports-based merchandise, you'll be helping us out. So go check them out and the other great podcasts. But like we do every week, Fiends, we have to start off with what's been going on in the world of horror. Now this week I think is a little light. There have been some other cool announcements, like there's a Castlevania Season 3 trailer, and there's some potential Lucifer Season 6 talks, but that's still, I think, yet to be confirmed. But we're going to start off with what I thought was a pretty cool announcement. So Alex Aja just directed Crawl, which made my top 10 list last year at least. That was
still haven't seen it.
It was good, honestly. You know, it was a good isolated kind of thriller, but with some good horror elements in there. He's going to be producing a new film that also kind of has that claustrophobic element to it, called O2.
Yeah, some chick wakes up in some sort of like cryogenic pod and she has like 90 minutes of oxygen or whatever. She has to figure out what the hell is going on. Who is she and why is she there?
Yeah, it kind of sounds to me like that. I think it was called Buried with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Actually, pretty good movie. This sounds very similar to that, but it'll probably have an interesting twist, I'm guessing. The director is going to be Frank Calhoun, who did P2, Amityville: The Awakening, and Maniac. I've seen all of those except for Amityville: The Awakening, but I think you did see that, didn't you?
I enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. He seems like a pretty trustworthy director to me. P2 was cool because it was another kind of isolated incident sort of thing.
Is that the elevator one?
That is not the elevator one, but it's one where this woman gets trapped in a parking structure, like on one floor of this parking structure, and there's this like guy that harasses her and like goes after her.
That sounds cool.
Well,
not
good.
the situation with the movie.
Yeah, I'd love to get trapped in a parking structure.
Why wouldn't
with some
you?
Creep. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it has good tension. Pretty good cinematography. The acting's really good. So I'm interested in this one. And Noomi, I don't know I never know how to say her name. Noomi Rapace, I think, who starred in Prometheus. She's going to be the lead in this one.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So there's no date info or anything like that yet, but we'll let you guys know if there is. Next up, I thought this was pretty interesting.
This is pretty cool.
Oh, what's going on, Sam?
So Stephen King's son, Sawyer Spielberg, weird name, I must say, weird name. You gave him a last name as his first name. But he's going to be starring in a horror movie directed by Devereaux Milburn. Is it Milburn? It's Milburn.
I like that you got Devereaux, but you're like Milburn?
I couldn't see if that was an O or a U. My
Yeah.
screen's cracked.
Milburn, yeah.
So it's the movie. Him and his girlfriend or whatever. They seek shelter with a farmer and her weird ass son, and then like they start seeing shit, and it's described as like a feverish horror film. So like I guess along the lines of like Mandy or something like that.
Yeah. Apparently, it's being described as a modern day Hansel and
Here
Gretel
we go.
story.
What were we just talking about?
Yeah, Hansel and Gretel. There you go.
Can we like stop?
But it sounds like, and other people have said, it's going to be like that type of movie, maybe like in theme, but not like a adaptation or anything. But one thing in the description as well, it says they have strange cravings. So some people think that this might be like a vampire thing or like a cannibal thing, which would be interesting.
Or like a psychic cannibal thing. It's like,
yeah.
I spent the night with these cannibals and now I'm a cannibal. They have influenced me to be a cannibal. It's probably vampires though.
Could be. I feel like because of the whole like fever dream thing, it's either that or like they feed them some drugs or something and some weird shit happens. But the movie's called Honeydew, and it's being shopped around right now. It's going to be at the European Film Market. So we might, I'm assuming it's done, so we might see it like later this year maybe or something like that. But yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be Sawyer Spielberg's introductory acting role. It's weird that we thought he might be like directing it, but that's not what's happening.
I thought that was the case too, and I'm kind of dumbfounded.
Yeah. But I'm interested. I mean, I did see him. He definitely looks like an actor, I think. So he's taller than his dad. So if he has the chops, then hey, more power to him, you know. Some people are like, well, it's nepotism. I'm like, well, yeah, but you know, if my dad was Steven Spielberg, I'd be like, can I be a movie star too?
Yeah, why not?
You know, so yeah, but
No, let me just work my way up from the ground. I'll star in indie movies that had a budget of $40. Like, no, why would you do that? That's stupid. Work with what you were given.
that's what you do when you become like a cult actor and then you're like 50 like Nick Cage, and then you do those type of movies, you know. But all right, so that's what's going on with that. Now finally, this is comics related news, which I know we don't feature a lot.
Cool.
But I thought that this was cool. You know, we talk about all horror here, just we focus on movies, but this one is kind of both. So this one is going to be a new Army of Darkness comic, and it's being called Death to the Army of Darkness, and it has a whole team of ashes.
Yeah, and it's supposed to take place 6 months after the Army of Darkness movie. Ash thinks he's all done with the Deadites, but then they like reappear and like random Deadites keep attacking him. So he tries to go back into the past to ancient Egypt to stop the Necronomicon from ever being written. And since Ash vs. Evil Dead is canon, we kind of know how this comic's gonna go.
Yeah, even in that movie, he had like the split Deadite personalities and whatever. The one specifically Evil Ash, but this one kind of is going along in the same vein. We don't know if they're evil or not, but he's being joined by female Ash Williams, who I guess is just called Ashley Williams.
Yeah.
Lil Ash.
Is that like a dwarf?
It's like a super, super tiny Ash, like the size of his like shin, basically. A doggy Ash, skeleton Ash, and then Cheney, Ash's now sentient chainsaw. So
Who's writing this?
there's a lot going on. So this is coming from Ryan Parrott, who wrote Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, not the movie, I'm assuming, but the comic, and Jacob Edgar, who did Red Sonja. Yeah. And there's a whole team, people who are comparing this to Deadpool, because I think one of the Deadpool comics has like a whole team of Deadpools or something like that.
Okay, I see what they're doing.
Yeah, but it sounds fun. You know, this doesn't sound like something that I think people would enjoy in like a movie, but for a comic, I think it's whatever, because comics go into some weird shit. It's like, hey, let's just make a whole team of this superhero and let's have Wolverine team up with Storm and like a solo adventure. Why not? It's like, who cares? But it's fun. So I'm into it. It's cool that they're going to go to ancient Egypt. And the artwork on these covers looks pretty dope too.
Yeah, the artwork looked pretty sick. When's it supposed to come out?
This is actually coming out today.
Oh, shit.
Which, if you're listening to this, it would have been
Where can I find
Wednesday,
this?
the 19th. I'm hoping that like just any comic book store is going to have it. Because I think they usually get like the Evil Dead stuff. But yeah, you probably have to go to like a local comic book store. So I might try and hit it up. Issue 1 is now officially out by the time you're listening to this. And then issue 2 comes out March 11th and number 3 on April 15th. So they're spread apart a little bit, but that's what it is. So if you guys are interested, you could probably go check it out. It looks like it's going to be just kind of an enjoyable ride. I wouldn't get too serious about the whole Ash team thing. It's not like that's going to... And this probably won't even be canon for the film series or anything anyway, so...
Cool.
Yeah. So let's move on to a few trailers here, guys. These are okay. The first one is basically Stranger Things V2.
But did you see who's like in the movie? 2 of the kids from Stephen King's It, the newer one, Beverly and Stan.
Mm-hmm.
And Stan's name in this movie is also Stan.
Meta much? Yeah, so we're talking about a new Netflix series called I Am Not Okay With This. And yeah, it's got Beverly, aka Sophia Lillis, and Wyatt Olaf.
It's basically Carrie.
Yeah. It draws that Stranger Things comparison now because that is still happening. That's like the pop culture thing right now.
Yeah, but for us, we're like, Carrie.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It mostly because it's like that coming of age type thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Stranger Things is like this whole group of kids and like this big government conspiracy type thing. But this one mostly looks like, she plays this normal girl, and once she's 17 in this, I think.
Yeah, she said she was 17 in the trailer.
Which is weird because then she's like, well, is this what puberty is? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, did you not go through puberty?
Like 3 fucking years ago?
Yeah. So I don't know what's happening. Maybe she's a really late bloomer, but she starts developing like psychic powers, and it's kind of like her daily life at school and, all that. So I get the Carrie vibes from that, I guess, because she's kind of like...
The outcast.
Yeah. But, I don't know. It looks okay. I'm not like...
Yeah, it's like teeny bopperish. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at least they like swear and stuff in it, so it's going to be like rated R. And there's like a shot where she's like covered in blood.
All little dickhead 17-year-old fucking swear.
Yeah, no. Well, that's why Stranger Things is almost a little bit more unrealistic. They don't swear as much. But yeah, I mean, this one looks okay. It looks like there could be some good potential for like gore. At the very least, carry Easter eggs. Because that's what it looks like.
Well, the blood on her and stuff.
Yeah.
It even had the movie fucking Easter eggs because she was in a bathroom stall again.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. It was a different, like, shot, I guess, but basically. It'll be interesting to kind of pick all that stuff out. The actual story itself, I would need to see fleshed out a bit more, because right now it's just... slice of life plus telekinesis. It's like,
yeah,
I'd rather watch Stranger Things at that point. But this one is coming out on February 26th, and they're going to be 7 30-minute long episodes. Next up, we got another series. This one's coming out March 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the Travel Channel, and this is that True Terror with Robert Englund we talked about.
Oh yeah, supposedly real things that have happened.
Yeah,
but they're scary.
It's like, yeah, stories that you would not think to be real, but they actually are real, but they're like some weird shit, around it.
They're shady stories.
Yeah.
No logical explanation, therefore ghosts or aliens.
Yeah, it's like ghost stuff, like cryptid stuff, monsters and things like that.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. The effects and stuff, I was kind of expecting like maybe a little bit more than that, but it looks like one of those early like 2000s, like Science Channel or like Travel Channel type things. And like the CGI, yeah, the CGI is not that great. even the acting for like the reenactments doesn't look all that great. But Robert Englund looks good.
Yeah, I'm just there for Robert Englund.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to be a good host. He's got that voice, really demanding. So I think it could be fun. So if you guys have a Travel Channel, you can check that out March 18th. And finally, this one is the most kind of like indie B-movie thing on our list, but it actually looks kind of cool. And I always like seeing a new anthology.
Yeah, I actually do want to check this one out because I actually watched the trailer a while back, and then I watched the trailer that you suggested today as well. And so basically it's going to be an anthology of slashers. It sounds like there's some color out of space going on, because like at some point I seen this kid in the trailer, he was looking at like this purplish pinkish light.
Oh.
And then at another point they talk about a meteor crash landing in someone's backyard.
Oh, okay. Interesting. It's either like a callback to that or like a creep show type thing.
Oh yeah, it's probably going to be like a little bit of everything, because it seems like a love letter to retro films, because it was shot intentionally to look super retro, just like The Barn, The Sleeper, and Lost After Dark.
Yeah, I noticed that too, actually. I mean, it reminded me of the last couple things we watched, like those Halloween-centered things, so... But it looks pretty good, actually. I mean, usually you can tell if it just looks like absolute dog shit. This one looks like it at least has some passion behind it.
Yes. Which
I enjoy. Like I don't know if the stories are going to be the most like wholly original, but it looks like they're going to pull off kind of the spirit of, what they're going for.
I hope so.
But this one's called Weird Fiction, and it's got a May 12th release date, I think, but I'm not actually sure where it's going to be releasing. It just has the date, but it's not going to the theaters or anything.
It was supposed to be released last October, but I guess there was a delay.
Maybe they're trying to find like distribution or something, because I mean, it doesn't even say it here, but they may be doing like a DVD or Blu-ray or something.
They should just go to Shudder.
Yeah, I mean, or even like Tubi, honestly, because this seems like the perfect kind of movie that would be like on Tubi.
Who would watch it though? You gotta I think target like retro horror fans, so maybe Prime, but I don't know how Amazon works. I know they take a big cut or whatever.
Yeah, no, they don't pay you a lot. I mean, Tubi probably doesn't give you a lot either.
I don't think Tubi pays you at all.
They just take shit.
A lot of these movies are like, what's it called? Public domain that are on Tubi. Like, no one owns the rights to them. Yeah, but I mean, there is a lot of like really low budget indie like B-movie stuff too, like new stuff. Oh yeah, there is.
So that's why I think that it could be on there, but we'll see. I mean, if there is more info, we'll try and let you guys know about it. But right now, it's just May 12th. Maybe they have like a site or something that you could check out.
Probably.
Yeah. So that's it for all the news. Now, guys, if you do have any additional questions about anything or you want to talk about anything, we are always here to talk to you guys. But we are going to move on to our main segment in just a moment. First, we do have some messages from some other SRD shows, so stick around.
Do you love pop culture? Discussions about pop culture? Ranking and rating treasured pieces of that shared culture against each other?
I do think Flea's a good bass player. He does what he does very well. And like I said, he's like a rock star, He's eccentric. And what is so funny?
I just didn't know he talked so long about Flea. I didn't know anybody had so many feelings.
I do.
So many
I got
feelings.
Yeah.
Music, movies, television, food, sports, pro wrestling. We are the determination of what is over or underrated across all fields of greater cultural consumption. Subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts and Podbean, or visit us at sportsradiodetroit.com. Over Under Fair, your final word in pop cultural relevance.
All right, Fred, so the people at Sports Radio Detroit want us to cut a promo for Parsons and Slow.
I want them to cut me a check for Parsons and Slow.
Well, I've Googled some keywords, and I'm going to put them here in a promo. So here it goes. Ready, Fred?
Yeah, analytics away.
Parsons and Slow. We have the content consumers crave. Listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere else that podcasts are available, or we'll kill you. We won't really kill you. Just listen to our podcast, brand new, every Friday on Sports Radio Detroit.
Okay, I'm ready to do the promo.
Oh, that was it.
Welcome back to the Crypt Fiends. So, as promised on today's episode, we are going to be discussing Blumhouse's adaptation of a 70s fantasy TV show, Fantasy Island. Now, before we get into it, I just want to voice my frustrations.
Okay, go.
And reiterate, just reiterate again, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up when you go to the movie theater.
Oh
for
my
real.
God.
Oh my God.
Dude. So, we stopped going to this one movie theater because there's always like younger people there talking during the movies. So we're like, fuck it. We're going to go a little bit further out into like the deep suburbs where I'm not used to going. And even there, bro, like the fucking kids do not shut the fuck up, bro. And they just kept moving around. They're in the front seat. They got like their phone screens on. They're taking selfies. The flash is going off. I literally wanted to throw my fucking icy at them. I was so fucking close. I was just like, you can't assault children.
I know. It would be so easy, but it's like they literally just went there to just piss people off, and that's just the worst. That's bad parenting. That's bad something. I don't know.
I blame the parents 100%.
Oh yeah.
Their parents are probably like fucking crackheads.
I don't know, dude, but it was incredibly annoying. There were like 12 of them. Nobody said anything, of course, because nobody wants to like start some shit. But yeah. Anyway, listen, no matter what age you are, go to the movie theater. If you pay for a fucking ticket, which I'd be surprised if they even did, honestly, then, you know, other people probably paid money to also watch the movie. So just watch the fucking movie and shut up.
Stop being so obnoxious in public. Like, everyone paid to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, no one paid to hear you fucking kids talk, like, every 5 seconds. Like, discuss the movie after. Like, have some fucking brains, because that shit's, like, seriously, like, very, very annoying. Like, it didn't interrupt me from hearing the movie. Like, I heard everything. Just that the extra noise is unnecessary. Like, imagine while we're sitting here watching a movie, if I was playing drums. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Stop.
I'd just be like, yo, I'm out. But I had to watch the movie, you know, so I couldn't just up and leave. But anyway, that happened, and it was extremely annoying. And I did lose my focus, you know, here and there. I wouldn't say it made my overall, like, impression of the movie worse or anything, but we can get into that. Anyway, just shut the fuck up when you go to the movie theater and have some respect for yourself and other people. It's not that hard.
I hate kids.
So, Fantasy Island is a PG-13 movie, so it's like I'm not super surprised that they were in there in the first place, but it definitely kind of draws those, like, you know, late teens, early 20s type kids, and I don't know who else it's really targeted for, because
they were like 15. Like, I walked past them after like the movie was done, and they came up to like my fucking throat. Like, they were short stouts, bro.
Yeah. So definitely for that kind of age range, and probably for those type of obnoxious fucking people. Although there were like a few older people and stuff, you know, as well in the audience, but definitely catered toward that, which is different from the series as far as like I was able to tell. I've never seen the show, but essentially the show is kind of the same thing. You've got Mr. Roarke. He's played by this kind of older white dude, and then he's got a little person as his sidekick, Tattoo, who
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either. But
what was it on?
I don't even know. Probably one of those like cable access,
Like fucking CW50.
No, because this was like in like the 70s.
Oh God, UPN.
It's very possible. I'm not actually sure, but yeah, Tattoo would go up into like this bell tower and go, the plane, and that would open up every episode, and it was basically a fantasy type thing. Each guest would have like their own story, and it would be about like, you know, their greatest desire, but there would always be something kind of twisted about it. The movie basically does the same thing, except it's got all these like, basically CW, really pretty people in it, and it's definitely catered toward that kind of audience. But the overall plot is kind of the same.
Okay, I mean, You don't have to stay 100% true to the source material if you're gonna make something interesting. You gotta make it appeal to modern day. Have some mind fucks. Have some supernatural stuff, because for some reason we're in the 21st century and people are starting to gravitate back toward like supernatural shit, which I don't understand. It's like we're trying to move forward here, people. You want to bring about the apocalypse or not? Help me out here. We gotta abandon religion.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go one way or the other, I think. But I mean, people have been gravitating toward supernatural stuff, especially since like Paranormal Activity and The Conjuring. We've talked about this before. But Blumhouse has definitely taken advantage of that. They've kind of pioneered that, at least at like the mainstream horror level.
100%. I mean, I was kind of like, I was excited because I thought it was going to be the death of their little supernatural genre after La Llorona. But that was not the case, and I am severely disappointed that wasn't the case. Not to say this movie was fucking trash. Like, it was a fun movie, I'm not going to lie, but it had like the stereotypical movie plot, stereotypical movie twist, the movie reveal, the movie things like people reacted in certain ways that are very unrealistic, not the kind of way someone should react to these scenarios. And it was just kind of over dramatic as well.
Yeah, it was that, like you're trying to be super serious, but the actual like subject matter and the way it's presented is not like super duper serious. It's kind of trying like a bit too hard, I feel like. And even like the pacing, the overall kind of tone of like what's going on definitely has that kind of contrived movie like, thing, like from those fucking like some kind of Indiana Jones type thing, except, it's like a horror movie.
I don't understand why Blumhouse, like, sometimes they'll release Gold, Insidious, The Conjuring, and then like out of fucking nowhere they'll just be like, hey, you want a movie about a ghost that comes out of the TV? And you're fucking no, not at all. I don't.
No, we've seen that before.
Well, we're gonna make it.
We've seen that before. I think it's because they work with some really good directors, and then they work with people like Jeff Wadlow, who directed Fantasy Island. He also directed Truth or Dare, which was not good. So
why don't they just like fucking who directed Insidious?
James Wan.
Have him do more shit. What's happened to James Wan? Why isn't he fucking?
Because he's just producing now, basically. I think once these people got like really successful in the genre, even like Sam Raimi, I don't know if they're just like, well, I can probably just make more money producing and I can be a bit more hands off, and that's what they're doing. Because I mean, some directors just stay directors for their whole careers,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how it should be. Like, I mean, look at Carpenter. Did he fucking give up after? All right, Halloween was a success. Time to produce some shit. No, he made The Thing. He made The Fog, Prince of Darkness, Escape from New York, Escape from LA. Like everything.
I mean, to be fair, he hasn't really been doing a lot of anything recently. So yeah, I can't really fault him for like just going off to be a producer. But I think that's one thing. And then I also think that this is like, they have like two sides, right? Two kind of like plans going on here. It's like, well, here we'll get some good directors who are really passionate about the genre, and we'll kind of let them do their own thing, and they're going to make a really good movie for us, and that'll get our Rotten Tomatoes numbers up.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the other side, this is when we need some of that cold hard cash, Hey, what's a thing that hasn't been adapted in a while? Let's do that. Hey, which board game or which fucking
Haunted Yahtzee's next?
Maybe, or like what, playground game can we do a horror movie adaptation of, and that'll be the money maker.
I don't understand. I don't understand why they're doing this. Like, it's kind of fucking fucked up at this point. Blumhouse has had more shitty movies now than they've had good movies.
Yeah, that's what people really say about them. It's like, sometimes they put out something good, but they're really hit or miss, etc. So Fantasy Island for me was kind of a miss. I will say this much at least. Yeah, I do think it was pretty fun. At least it's like a good popcorn flick,
Yeah, it is for sure.
Because it's not like you have to like turn your brain off, but it is kind of one of those things. Like the characters are pretty stupid and contrived, and and just say the dumbest things. Like even in this one, Brax and his brother or whatever. I mean, I know that there are people that are
that cringy,
kind of like that in real life. It's like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan is like bitches and drugs and money and stuff, but they were kind of obnoxious, not gonna lie. Like their dialogue, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt about like a lot of it, but definitely had entertainment value. I mean, I think it has a plot that you still can follow, you know, and it's got that natural kind of flow from one thing to the other, and it escalates and has, you know, an act 1 and act 2 and an act 3 and all that stuff. But it really feels like it was like super all over the place.
It did, especially with like the storytelling. And I mean, I don't mind if they're like, all right, so this is happening now, and while this is happening, but like how they changed in between like what's happening to each character, it felt like there was no justification for it. Like, why are we showing this now? And nothing really, like their stories didn't like. You could have set up their stories in any way, and they would have crossed the same way without telling it like it did. And I just felt like confused for most of them. Hey, where's the soldier guy? Because we went like a whole half an hour without seeing what was happening with him. He's like, my daddy. Like, you know, like, all right.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, at first, what I thought it was going to be was, because they did the scary stories to tell them the dark thing, where they have like these separate stories, but then they try to kind of make them all link up somehow and then progress into this big finale, which I guess makes some kind of logical sense, but you still have to execute it well. What I thought they were going to do was like maybe show each person's, you know, individual story and kind of leave them on sort of like a cliffhanger, and then maybe bring it back at the end for like the whole, you know, resolution and them kind of connecting or something. But yeah, it kind of just took snippets of the individual stories and just kind of put them wherever the fuck, you know, throughout the course of the movie, and then we somehow end up, you know, with the final sequence and them together or whatever.
It could have unfolded in any way, and the same thing would have happened. That was like my main issue with it. Like, it didn't help the story, like how everything unfolded, and I felt like the dialogue was really fucking dumb. Seemed like a lot of the characters were dumber than normal people would be. Like I say, they weren't reacting to stuff how normal people would react, and it kind of fucking bothered me at times. But I was more interested in seeing like what the hell is going on. Like the whole time you're like, yo, what's the fucking point of this? And like it did a good job at that. Like you kind of like wanted to know like what's going on, who set this shit up, why is this happening. My problem too is like the main characters like figure shit out too quickly.
Yeah,
they're just like, wait a minute,
for being so dumb.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why it kind of felt like, I mean, I know it's written, you know, that way and everything like that, but it still doesn't have to feel like it is. It doesn't have to feel like so contrived.
Well, it did.
You know? But it did, and that's definitely one of the problems. So I think the structure itself was just not super well thought out.
I agree 100%.
But it did make you guess. I mean, you could tell that there was something bigger going on, and that was kind of interesting to think about. And then I think that there was a pretty good twist at the end, although the end itself was still super cliche, and I didn't much care for that. But
no, I didn't at all.
But it is what it is, I guess.
I mean, and the way it was all solved too, like simply, like I don't want to spoil it, but you remember how, right?
Yeah.
And then whoosh.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's all you had to do?
That's really it, yeah.
Drink the water.
And that was like I'll say this much, it was one of like the jump scares in the movie, which that was another thing, you know, that they definitely kind of toned down the horror elements. Some parts had a pretty good atmosphere, I guess. Like the lighting was okay. The set design overall was fantastic.
Oh my God.
That helped a lot.
One of the best set designs in recent years besides like Midsummer.
Apparently they filmed in Fiji. So
wow.
That makes sense.
That's fucking awesome.
I don't know if they built like that house there or if that just was like a hotel there or something, but
they probably built it. They have money. I mean, it's Blumhouse. Whoever produced it threw the money and it's like, hey, you got to pay for a fucking mansion in Fiji.
Yeah.
Fuck it here.
Yeah, might as well. This is pocket change.
Yeah.
For them. So that could be what happened. But they filmed at Fiji. It was great. I think that attributed a lot to the kind of total package of the movie, the total vibe. And it was creepy in some parts. They used that kind of natural darkness of like some caves and stuff like that, which was kind of cool. But that was really about it. Otherwise, they did use some jump scares and some here's a creepy face.
Yeah,
that happened
a lot
type thing.
And it was a lot of the time the creepy face was Merle from The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the times you think it's Satan himself.
Right. I mean, he was okay in this, I guess, Michael Rooker, but I mean, he really, I wasn't expecting him to play like so little of a role, and I didn't really care for his character that much.
I didn't either. He was just like, he's just a guy that, spoiler alert if you don't want to know what happens to listen, he's just a guy that sacrifices himself for the main characters.
Yeah, that was kind of a dumb part.
Which is really fucking dumb, because he's literally bigger. He's the biggest star in that movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Straight up.
I mean, who else would it be? Fucking Michael Pena or Maggie Q, I guess. But I don't think they're as big as Michael Rooker is right now. But anyway, we could talk about them. So I'll finalize by saying, I didn't think the actual horror elements were all that great, because they just relied on these cliche things. But the strengths really come in everything else about the movie, other than the horror,
quote unquote strengths.
Yeah. So
like we said, it's not fucking horrible. The set design was cool. It kept you engaged. Yeah. But like, just, it's not even little things. It's just like logical things that it's like, hey, that's not fucking right. Why would that happen?
Yeah.
And like you said, these people are so dumb, in little situations that don't require much thought, but in the situations that require the most thought, they're like on it. Like,
yeah. It's really weird. I mean, you could tell that there are just parts that are meant to just advance the story, regardless of belief or not. But apart from that, I mean, I think some of the performances were pretty good too. Michael Pena as Mr. Roarke was cool. He's usually in like a comedic role, at least from where I've seen him.
Same.
So this was like a little bit of a turn, but I think he did a good job.
I think he did a really good job.
Yeah. Maggie Q was probably the next best performance in this for me. She played Gwen, who wanted to have her husband back. And that's
the brunette.
Yeah, but
where else is she from? I've seen her somewhere.
She was in Nikita.
Haven't seen
on TV, and she's been in some other stuff. She's like 40 now. She's been around.
Yeah, she looks retro. You know what I mean? Like,
Maggie Q.
I don't want to say old. She looks like she has that retro look. Like I've seen her, but like in the 90s.
Oh yeah, she was bigger than I feel like.
Like fatter or like more popular?
No. Probably
or both.
Probably more popular. But I mean, she's like part Vietnamese, so she always looks like she's the same age almost. Anyway.
Oh yeah, Asians don't age.
But she was in. I guess she was in Rush Hour 2 apparently, and Mission Impossible 3, Balls of Fury. She was the romantic.
Oh, okay. So she's an OG.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah. So she was good. I mean, I thought she probably did the best apart from Michael Pena. Lucy Hale, I really couldn't give a shit less about Lucy Hale still. She was also in Truth or Dare. She's like pretty or whatever, but I don't know. Her acting is like really so for me. It's like CW acting. And yeah, I just can't find anything super interesting in like her characters or her acting.
In this one, she was kind of struggling internally. I don't want to give it away, but
she did okay.
Yeah, she did okay. It's just that I don't know. I wasn't a giant fan of anybody in this movie.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, the military guy, I couldn't give a shit about him either. Played by Austin Stoll as Patrick Sullivan. Yeah, I mean, he was whatever. He was kind of boring in this one.
Oops.
Yeah. And I mean, nobody really stood out to me. I mean, Michael Pena was kind of the draw because like Michael Pena as Mr. Roarke.
This movie just wasn't like complete trash though, as like everyone's saying. It got, bro. Black Christmas was literally like
it was worse.
So much fucking worse. And Black Christmas got like over 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, see, so this movie didn't really have it. Like it touched on pop culture things,
but it wasn't like
things.
It wasn't woke.
Yeah.
That's why people didn't like it. People want artsy shit or like super allegorical shit that has to do with something in like modern society, you know.
Yeah, this was more so like an adventure thing, which I do appreciate. I think we do need more movies like that. It's cool to get movies like The Babadook and It Follows and all like Get Out and all these other movies that have a message and are about this like social thing. Horror has always been about that kind of stuff, but you can also have horror movies that just don't focus on anything like that and they just present a story.
Like fucking Book of Monsters.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say in this one it's like, be careful what you wish for and that kind of thing. But it's still more so just your kind of typical kind of fun plot to just watch and kind of sit back and relax at and just, try and figure out what the fuck's going on and not really think too much about life and shit.
Yeah, and don't think too much about anything in general, like other than the movie, because like, I mean, honestly, good luck finding out what's really going on, because I had no fucking clue.
Oh yeah,
they did a good job at that. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree. I mean, that whole like twist kind of thing at the end, I wasn't really expecting. So they got me with that, and like I said, it does have some entertainment value, but like technically as a movie there are a lot of things that they could have improved on, I think, and should have improved on, and I think they would have had something that could have gone down as like a kind of guilty pleasure type thing,
I guess. I mean, I can't see it because like what could they have done really like differently? Not make the characters fucking
idiots.
Imbeciles but then it would have like panned out differently, and they might not have found out what was going on, or they might have found out too quick, or I don't know. Either way, like I don't think they could have. I don't think they could have changed anything to make it any better. Like I think it's just one of those movies,
Yeah, I mean, I think that if they had gone in a more aggressive horror direction, like tonally and everything, I think that would have been a lot more interesting. That's kind of what the trailer presented it as. Obviously, we know that trailers fucking lie all the time just to make the movie look better. That's the whole point. But I wish that we had gotten more of that in just a more focused way throughout the entire movie, rather than what we kind of ended up getting, which was a lot more like action packed and shit's blowing up and all that. And I will say this too, I forgot to mention this, but some of the effects, I don't know if you really caught it in a lot of those moments, but when people were like falling and I'm not going to spoil anything, but some of those effects were not good. I noticed them like hardcore. I was like, holy shit, that looks really bad.
Yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention, honestly.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
To the effects at least. Like I didn't give two fucks.
Yeah,
I think everyone kind of overacted in like the more dramatic moments, though.
Oh,
that was my one major gripe. Like, I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be box office Hollywood fucking horror, but whatever. Yeah. Like,
I know it's very like reactionary. Like they just put dialogue or moments in just to get like a rise out of the audience. That's fine, I guess. If you can walk out saying that part got me or that was fun or whatever, then I guess they got your money in a justified manner. But I did want to ask you
there we go.
two things. The first is, do you think that this movie would have worked better if it wasn't so much like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, aka if it was more of an anthology kind of a thing? Do you think that would have benefited it?
Not as a Hollywood movie, because not many like casual moviegoers are too familiar with that anthology style. But I think if they put some like more like passion and thought into it, they could have like released it as like a serious like horror anthology.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. I guess that kind of leads up to the other thing I kind of had a thought about, which was the rating itself. I mean, if it was rated R, do you think, they could have achieved that vibe better? And would it have made sense? Would it have fit?
Yeah, it would have been better. One, no fucking asshole kids at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Two, more gore, so we could have like got led down like more extreme like fantasies, more like existential ones rather than like trivial shit and like I want money, I want this, I want that. I think they would have delved more into like it could have been a real mind fuck, this movie. Like a fucking fever dream, which is what I would have preferred. But it was like solely based in real life situations. You know what I mean? That's what kind of made it like sort of unappealing for a rewatch for me. Like it wasn't like there's no atmosphere really.
Yeah. I mean, what happened was done in like a supernatural kind of way, I guess, but the situations themselves weren't like super interesting enough to really be worth like, you know, investing in or paying that much attention to.
Yeah.
And the horror stuff that did happen was again kind of like tropey. So I guess all in all,
Tropey's not bad though, but like
it's not
when
bad.
it's in a PG-13 Hollywood movie, it is.
Yeah.
Because like Hollywood shit, I want to see Hollywood like sure stereotypical boo ghost, boo haunted house, oh a slasher, but like, dude, stop using the same fucking formula for every fucking movie.
I think the point is just like if you're gonna do all that stuff, don't make every movie feel like it's every other movie.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what it feels like.
And it really does, honestly. I mean, even though I didn't know what was going on, like just the vibe of it all, like it was just like Club Dread meets what's a stupid fucking movie? Club Dread meets Jacob's Ladder. You know what I mean?
Or at least it was trying to be.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I do wish it was a little bit more focused, but overall, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst movie of this year by far, for me at least. So if that's any indication, I think you could get away with still checking it out, but you have to know like what you're going into and kind of what to expect. Don't expect like the next great horror movie. If you want something that you can kind of have some like mindless fun with, I think this does fit the bill, but technically as a horror movie, I don't know, maybe they should have just stuck to fantasy or just gone full-blown horror. And so I think it didn't really know what it wanted to be, and there were just too many messy pieces, and it wasn't structured the best. So I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Again, below average and a popcorn flick, but I mean, you could do worse.
You could. I mean, 2 out of 5 stars is fair. I wouldn't give it 2.5. I'll give it.
Okay.
Like it wasn't half bad, literally.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's a fair rating too, and I think that's probably the highest you should go with it.
Yeah, if you go higher, then you're smoking crack.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it's the worst of the worst.
It's not the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst is like fucking Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah. Oh god.
In terms of Hollywood, because I could fucking list off a fucking slew of independent movies that looked like they were filmed with a foot.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I mean, even The Nun visually was okay, you know.
Yeah.
But not really a great movie by any means.
No, it was just super predictable, and the same shit that always happened in that.
Yeah.
As this movie.
Yep, pretty much. So it's possible that we might see a sequel, God forbid. But the movie actually, I don't think did amazingly. It did profit. But I don't know if there's a sequel. And honestly, I do think it's a bit forgettable. You know, it doesn't really have that lasting kind of appeal for me, which I think is also an important factor of a movie. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Sam, do you want to say anything else?
No, wait for this movie to come out on like Amazon Prime for free. That's all I can really say.
Okay. Not even like the Blu-ray?
No.
If it's like $5.99 at some point.
Like, go for it.
Yeah.
But honestly, just wait till it's gonna be on Prime or Tubi. Maybe not Tubi.
Nah.
I think it's
because it's Blumhouse still. Prime, if anything.
Prime for sure.
Or like maybe Hulu. I don't know. I feel like it could fit on Hulu because they have all that other like kind of CW-y shit.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, Hulu can probably Hulu.
Yeah,
but they're not gonna like advertise the shit out of it.
Probably not.
I'm like, hey, look what we got. They'd be like, just put that in there. Hopefully, no one sees.
No, because now it's got like an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
or something
that's
like
fucking
that.
wild, dude.
So they're not gonna advertise that shit. Like,
no, why would you?
No.
Just be like, it's on here if you want to watch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be on one of those like internet lists, but nobody's really gonna advertise it. It's like, oh, Fantasy Island and insert good movie here, you know. So yeah, we'll see about that. But if you really want to go check it out right now in theaters, and you want like a fun movie, this is probably the one to go see. Unless you want to go see Sonic the Hedgehog, which actually did amazingly well. But
I should have I want to go see that.
I want to go see it too. So that's it for Fantasy Island Fiends. If you have seen it, let us know what you thought about it. You can reach out to us on our social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for Grave Discussions, or if you're on Twitter, we're at GraveDiscSRD. And then you can also check out gravediscussions.net for the latest episode and so much more.
Yes, and tune in next week on a very... It's not special, it's just another episode of Grave Discussions. Maybe Cult Corner.
This has been an SRD production.